Why do you keep getting stuck in conflict? Do you notice that you and your partner can go back and forth about the same thing over and over and over again? If that's you, and if you're curious, why do we keep getting stuck here? Stick around for the rest of this video. Hey, beautiful people. My name is Tina Morales. I am a licensed professional counselor and master's level marriage and family therapist, here to empower you with the tools for transformational living. Why do you keep getting stuck? It's something that I see over and over and over again in my practice, and it's something that I have personally experienced in my own life. So you are not alone. I get it, okay? But let me tell you 3 common reasons why we all can get stuck in the same conflict over and over again. Number 1, pride. Pride is one of the very things that keeps us stuck in conflict. Why? Because we want to be right. If we are right, we feel like we have the power, right? If we're wrong, there is this threat to ourselves, this threat to our identity, this threat to possibly the relationship. Maybe there's a story around, hey, if I'm wrong, or if someone is able to witness me in a flaw or witness something that's wrong in me, there may be this idea that I might lose relationships. I have to be right. 1, take a deep breath. I want us to recognize that relationships are not about who is right and wrong. Relationships are about relational humility. This practice of being able to listen and understand and adapt in the process, okay? Another big reason why we continue to stay stuck in conflict is because of familiarity. So what do I mean by that? For a lot of us, we say we want change. I will tell on myself here. I consistently tell myself, okay, I gotta get to the gym because I like the way that I feel after I've worked out one day. The issue is, for me to go to the gym, it would require me to do something different. It would require me to develop a new discipline, a new muscle of getting myself up and going to the gym, right? The issue is we love familiarity. We love being in what's familiar because it's known, it's certainty. And as human beings, we really struggle with uncertainty. So a lot of times, the pain of what we know is what we choose, rather than the discomfort of what we don't know. So a lot of times when we're in conflict, we stay stuck in it because maybe it's what's most familiar. We're familiar with chaos. We're familiar with the silence. We're familiar with constantly yelling at each other. So we stay stuck in it. The third reason why we stay stuck in conflict is because of avoidance. One of the therapists that I love, her name is Deborah Fileta, and she says, if you want to preserve something, bury it. One of the things that we love to do when we are anxious about something, when we are nervous or fearful, what we tend to do as humans is avoid, right? That is how our brain is wired. It says, leave the threat, leave danger, go to where you're safe. And so we trick ourselves into thinking, if I don't step in, or if I don't address this conflict, maybe it'll go away. The issue is, the more we avoid something, the more it grows, the more power it has, the more intense it becomes. So, rather than avoiding, part of our practice when it comes to getting out of a chaos of conflict is to start stepping in, to start addressing by arming us with skills around conflict management. Okay, so what actually is conflict? Conflict is simply a tool. It's a tool that shows up when you have an opportunity to figure out, how do I get to my desired outcome, right? So if I'm in a relationship and the two of us want something, I want something, but my partner wants something that's different. Conflict shows up as a tool for us to be able to navigate, how do we get our desired outcome, whether that's short-term or long-term. Like any other tool, how you think about it, how you feel towards it, is going to impact how you actually manage it. Let's be clear, not all conflict is created equal. Conflict can increase in intensity based on the context, the specific topic that we're talking about, and our history. So now that we know a little bit more about what conflict actually is and what it's not, let's determine, or let's talk about, why conflict is actually important in relationships. Number one, conflict is important because it teaches you a little bit more about yourself and your partner. Conflict can point to strength areas that you and your partner have, but it can also point to growth areas that you have. Conflict is a great way to look at different opportunities that each of you have for growth. For example, conflict can tell you a whole lot about your triggers, what wounds you have from your past that maybe have not been addressed yet. Conflict can also teach you about your thought patterns, your belief system. Are you rigid in your thought? Are you narrow-minded? Are you too flexible or too chaotic or black and white? When you experience a conflict with your partner, specifically in romantic relationships, conflict can be used as a tool to see more of yourself through the tension that you and your partner are experiencing. Number two, conflict is important in relationships because it helps you to enhance your relational skill set. Can't we all use a little bit more of that? When I say your relational skill set, what I'm talking about are your listening skills, your communication skills, your emotional regulation skills. When you learn how to do conflict well, you can enhance in all three of these areas simply by practicing over and over and over again. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not saying, hey, let's get into a conflict so I can enhance my skill set. Conflict will show up in your relationship. You do not need to manufacture or fabricate it. Lastly, the third reason why I think conflict is so important in relationships is because it helps with character development and spiritual formation. One thing that we know is that we are called to love our neighbor as ourselves. It sounds beautiful, it sounds nice, but let's be really clear. To love our neighbor as ourselves, one, we have to know and understand how we love ourselves. And two, we have to be able to reflect on that so that we can also recognize, okay, how am I loving myself and how is that coming out through how I'm loving my partner? Conflict gives us an opportunity to really practice spiritual principles in our lives. Lastly, I think conflict is really important in relationships because it helps get us to our desired goal. And for most of us, that desired end goal is long-term intimacy in our relationships. When we are able to be intimate, open with someone for several years, one, it requires risk. But the more risks we take, we also have to recognize that there is going to be conflict. I can't remember where I heard this quote before, but I heard someone say, we were all born into this world looking for someone who was looking for us. We were born and we were designed for intimate connection, for us to be able to get to a place of intimate connection with someone. We have to learn how to be able to navigate the obstacles along the way. That's what conflict is. Conflict gives us that opportunity to get to that place of intimate connection, long-term intimacy with another human being who's just as imperfect as we are. All right, beautiful people, so there you have it. Those are 3 reasons why conflict is so important in relationships. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave that below. Again, my name is Tina Morales, and I am a licensed professional counselor. Thank you for watching this video.